Well, hello, and welcome to your How to Love Yourself video. I've gotten a lot of emails from people recently asking me my opinion on how they can actually love themselves. So, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Terri Cole, and I'm a licensed psychotherapist, and I'm a holistic lifestyle coach. I'm a transformation coach, but I'm also a relationship expert. And let's talk about relationships. How is your relationship with yourself? This is what loving yourself is all about. So, before I can get into actual steps that you can take to learn how to love yourself more, we have to first decide, ascertain, understand how much you love yourself right now. How do we do that? We do that with your actions, by looking at your actions, by looking at your internal dialogue, by looking at the way that you treat yourself, by looking at the people that you're in relationships with right now, the people you work with, the people you work for. All of those types of things indicate what you think your level of worthiness is. I think it's very unhelpful. We see this online where people just say, well, just love yourself more. As if you could just do that. Trust me, pal, if people knew how to just love themselves more, hey, they wouldn't need you to just tell them that. So maybe we can do something actually productive, which is for you guys to sit down. This video will be about 15-20 minutes, and really get honest with yourself about where you are on your own personal love journey. Because I don't care what kind of love you're looking for in your life, it all starts with truly and authentically loving yourself, accepting yourself. So the first thing I want to talk about is what limiting beliefs you may have. How do we know that you have limiting beliefs? Well, let's start looking at, how do you talk to yourself? Think about it. In your mind, how do you talk to yourself if you make a mistake? Are you nice? Are you kind? Or are you super punitive? Are you super mean? Really think about that. What types of relationships do you have in your life? How do the people treat you? Because here's the thing about self-love. If you have a low opinion of yourself, I promise you, you will attract someone who agrees with you, right? The way that we are socialized, especially women in the United States, men as well, but men, it's a different thing because there's a different gender expectation. So if women feel good about themselves and they talk about their accomplishments or they want to share it with someone, there's always a fear, at least with my clients as a psychotherapist, that people will think they are bragging, that they are conceited, that they think they're great. What's wrong with thinking you're great? But yet we're socialized to think that there is something wrong with it. So let's move into, so now you're starting to think about how you talk to yourself. So it's self-talk, right? Is it positive? Is it negative? Also, let's talk about the quality of the tone of voice that you use. I want you to think about talking to yourself with the same tone of voice that you would a 5-year-old child who you adore. Is that how you talk to yourself? I'm going to say probably not. So, every time you're starting to talk to yourself, if you make a mistake, you really have to get into the mindset of thinking, how would you treat a child who just made a mistake? Do kids learn because we scream at them? No. So if you're doing that, please stop, because it doesn't work and it's really mean and very damaging. So give yourself a break. So words of affirmation. So if you find out, which many people that I work with, most people that I work with find out, that they have a punitive inner voice, right? That inner mean chick, that inner mean guy who is saying how you're not doing anything right. What you're doing is not good enough. This is when you want to start to make the change. So words of affirmation for yourself. You have to think about what's great about you, what's good about you. What do other people tell you is good about you if you're having trouble figuring it out for yourself? Allow yourself to feel that. Your friends all come to you for something. The people in your life love you for reasons. So think about those things instead of diminishing them, because this is what I find also with my therapy clients, is that they diminish the things that they're good at, the things that people say they're great at, can never take a compliment. These are all ways that you block your own feelings of worthiness and lovability. So getting back to how to love yourself is figuring out, how are you being unloving to yourself right now? What are the ways? So negative self-talk is one way. Negative public talk, right? It's not just self-talk. It's, do you, in front of other people. People say, oh, I love your pants. Too bad my ass is so big. Is that you? Is that you? Think about it. Is it so hard for you to accept a compliment that you deflect it by putting yourself down? Because this is, this is like a defense mechanism. If you don't want to threaten anyone, if you don't want anyone feeling threatened by you. But it's when you really think about what happens, when you deflect a compliment all the time, when you can never just say, wow, thank you. Thank you. And I don't mean if someone says they like your pants, right? Well, I don't have to be so meaningfully thankful. But if I give a talk, when I was younger as well, people would say, you did a great job. I'd be like, oh yeah, except in that second part where I totally messed it up. Why? Why do we point out the places? Why are we doing that? Why? And when I stopped, and I had a brilliant therapist years ago who said to me, Terri, you're terrible at taking a compliment. And what happens is, this is how I want you to think about it. I want you to think about it as someone handing you a wrapped gift. And when you dismiss the compliment, when you go, no, it wasn't good or whatever, what you're basically doing is taking that wrapped gift, throwing it on the ground and like stomping on it. Would you ever do that in real life if somebody gave you a gift? I'm going to say no. In most circumstances, you would not do that. And that really shifted my ability to allow something to come in. And let's talk about why we do this a little bit, because this is a part of self-love. It's a very fear-based response. We're afraid to threaten other people. So for years before I became a psychotherapist, I was a talent agent representing supermodels and famous people, and it was a great gig, but it wasn't my dharma, right? Not my purpose. So I quit and went back to school and became a psychotherapist almost 18 years ago, almost 20 years ago now. Anyway, when I was in therapy, talking to my therapist, and she would always say, she would try to compliment me on, you're doing great, or how do you feel about this? And I would say, I would always say I was super lucky. I would always say, I'm so lucky. I'm so blessed. And she said, let me ask you something. Why do you keep saying that you're lucky and you're blessed? I'm like, because I am. And she said, do you know what lucky indicates? I was like, no, but that I'm grateful that I'm lucky. And she's like, no. What it indicates is you not taking credit or responsibility for the career that you built in entertainment. Right? When she pointed out that I didn't realize I was saying lucky because I was afraid to take responsibility for my accomplishments, basically. And I find that so many people do this. But from a straightforward way, it didn't look that way. It looked like I was just being humble. But here's the thing with humility. There's so much false humility out there, and it's driven by fear. So we don't need to learn to be more humble. Trust me, that most of us have mastered the crap out of that. We need to learn to brag in a healthy way. We need to take responsibility for our accomplishments. So I'm saying all of this because I want you to think about how you handle it when someone gives you a compliment, one, and also how are you around your own accomplishments? Do you step into that? Can you say, thank you? I worked so hard on that. Thank you. Can you let go the one thing that happened in the talk that you didn't plan? Can you let it go? You can. How about we focus on the 98% of everything that's right and stop needing to make ourselves wrong about things? All of these things lead to a better relationship with yourself. And that is really self-love. The truth about self-love is that it's all based on you, right? Someone else can't love you enough to create self-love. It's only you can take the actions that will create a good relationship with yourself. And self-love, true self-love, creates self-esteem. One of the most important things to learn to do is to be able to draw boundaries. That is loving. Say no when you mean no. That is being loving to yourself. And the conflict that so many people have is they have the disease to please, which is that you can't figure out what you want because you're too busy trying to figure out what other people want from you, what other people want you to do, trying to avoid people being mad at you or disapproving of you or having a difficult conversation with someone. But what happens is that when you do that long enough, you truly abandon yourself. And if you really do it for long enough, you don't even know what you like or want and who you are. We can only develop that knowledge, that self-knowledge, by actually honoring how we feel and learning to tell the truth about that. So the disease to please, it's a nightmare, and it will never bring you to a place of self-love. Yes, maybe you can avoid tough conversations, but trust me, that is going to wear off. That's going to lose its appeal soon, if it already hasn't, and you end up being bitter when you don't tell the truth. Because here's what's real around self-love and around love in romantic relationships is that if you don't truly know yourself, you cannot truly love yourself. And if someone else doesn't authentically know you because you don't tell the truth about what you want and how you feel, they can never authentically love you, because you've taken that off the table by not being honest. So do you see where I'm going with all this self-love? You have the power right now in your life, in this moment, to change. If you're saying bad things about yourself in your mind, you can learn to stop. You can learn how to do affirmations. You can learn how to dial into the parts of yourself that you know are good, that you do love. And then you can learn to draw boundaries, stand up for yourself. Here's the thing about feeling worthy. You're worthy simply because you exist. You are inherently lovable right this second. And in order to have that be in your life, meaning having healthy love from other sources, siblings, friends, lovers, right? Relationships, romantic love. It all starts with you and what you think about yourself and what you think about your lovability. So there is work to do, no doubt, but you can do it. All you need is to want to. Right? Everyone, as Don Miguel Ruiz says in the Four Agreements, everyone is in their own nightmare. They're all dealing with their own bullshit. So we can't let other people tell us our value. Who knows? And if they haven't thought about why they are the way they are, everything they're saying to you is all a projection of their own experiences. So forget that. You must be the master of your own ship in this life. And maybe that's sad and maybe that's scary, because you know what happens when you do that? You can no longer blame other people. That's it. No more blaming other people. And you have to be willing to give up blaming others for where you are in life in order to transform. And if you're always saying the same things, calling yourself stupid, saying that you're fat and ugly, whatever those things are, you're not good enough, you missed the boat, it's too late. These are all terribly limiting things to be saying to yourself. You need to look at the content of those limiting conversations, and we need to change those into affirmations, right? So if you say all the time in your mind, well, it's too late, I missed the boat, too late for me, we're going to change that affirmation to, I'm happy and grateful that there's always enough time to change whatever needs to be changed. We keep it simple. Don't say something that feels completely fake to you, right? Because those affirmations don't work if it doesn't resonate with you. So for some people, for some of my clients, I'll help them create affirmations that are like, if it's about love, I'm so happy and grateful that my right and perfect partner is on her way to me right now, or his way to me right now. It's something that is in the close future, And for some people, that is much more doable. They can resonate with that because it's hopeful. But they don't resonate with saying, I'm so happy I'm in my perfect relationship, when they're not. That seems not real. That seems weird. That seems fake. That's not going to do anything for you, right? Moving on. Doing some mirror work. This is something that someone who's been a real mentor in my life, someone who I've looked to her work for years, Louise Hay, is really big on doing mirror work. And it may seem corny in the beginning, and maybe it is. I don't know. I don't care, but it works. You have to be able to look yourself in the eye in the morning, go into the bathroom, and just talking about how great you are. What I do is I take a magic marker, like one of those erasable kind, and I put it on my bathroom window. And it says, hello, beautiful. And then in my bedroom, I have a long mirror, and it says, I like your shape, with a smile on it. That may sound corny, stupid to you. It works so much. Every time I see that, I feel there's a little sense of like, that's nice. The same thing with loving yourself. Look in the mirror. Real mirror work is looking in the mirror in the morning and saying, I love you. I love you. You know what, Terry? You're awesome. You're a great person. I love you. You are worthy of your heart's desire today and every day. See if for a minute you can do that for 21 days straight in the morning and see what might just shift in your life. If you were consciously, unconsciously just rocking this positivity about yourself. And then you have to take responsibility for yourself. If you don't feel good, figure out a way to feel good. Do something different. If you get up on the wrong side of the bed, go back to bed. Meditate, right? Take some time in stillness and silence every single day, because that taps into the wisdom of who you are. That taps into your higher self. And you guys know, if you're on this channel, if you're seeing this on YouTube, I have a zillion free things on here. Just after this, do a guided meditation. It'll be 6 minutes of your life, and it can change your life. Don't tell me you don't know how to meditate. Neither did I. Just hit play, and if you have an ass and a couch, you're a meditator, okay? You can do it. I believe in you. Be willing to do things that make you uncomfortable, like saying thank you when someone gives you a compliment, like telling someone something you're proud of that you've done. These are all ways for you to build more self-love, and you deserve to be truly loved. And the only way that you're going to be truly loved is if you truly love yourself. Because try some of these suggestions and see if you don't feel better, because I know that you will. And drop me a comment right here. Let's talk about it. Tell me what your problem is. Tell me what you're struggling with. Tell me if you liked this. If you like it, share it. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. Whatever you do, go to terricole.com and join my list. Because you know what? For me, you guys are it. I want you to live your happiest, healthiest, best life, having the most delicious, abundant love that you've ever experienced. And I know that that is possible for you. So I hope you have an amazing week. I hope you do some of these exercises. And as always, take care of you.